Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation live podcast. So what we're going to do today is a special episode, the Best of Pool Nation podcast. Hope you have a great week and take a listen. Today, we talked to Chris Galvan, owner of Blu-Ray XL. We listened to his journey from Pool Pro to creating the product Blu-Ray XL, and we answer your questions about the Blu-Ray XL product. John, good evening.
Good evening. It's always weird doing these podcasts in the evening time, right? You know, you're just a little off, so I don't know as far as background noise, what's going to happen. It's going to be up in the air, so you guys might hear some weird noises with the family that I have. So I want to apologize.
Are we going to hear that Doberman kind of sound like a little Chihuahua again?
No, I'm glad I was muted when you first started. He started barking like crazy right now, but I told him to shut up. He's a good boy.
So I do have to tell you, John, that I told Chris, hey, make sure that you kind of go into a really quiet place.
I can see he's like locked himself in like a storage room or something right now.
Like a storage room, yeah.
Everybody listening, you obviously can't watch, but Chris looks like almost he's in a walk-in freezer, John. Walk-in, you know, have you been to the grocery store and those big, huge metal walk-in coolers? That's what he looks like. He's locked in.
I'm taking this seriously. Nobody's coming in. I locked it
right
from the inside.
For sure.
It's cold in here, but it's quiet.
But nobody's coming in.
What I want to do is, as everybody will come to know, that Zach isn't on the podcast this week, but it's for a good reason. Congratulations, my friend Zach. He had his baby boy yesterday. So he's currently on maternity leave, apparently breastfeeding. So he's not able to join the podcast. But I'm sure, don't worry, Edgar will cut that out. Trust me, he'll edit that out of the podcast, I'm sure.
Oh, hell no, I'm not cutting that out. Are you kidding me?
So, but we missed you, Zach. Congratulations, Zach. Congratulations, Leslie. We saw the baby boy's picture, and he is absolutely beautiful. So we wish you guys the best, and Zach, enjoy the time with your little one.
Absolutely. Now, I do have to tell you this, John. I sent him a message earlier today and said, hey, bro, I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? Didn't hear from him all day. And then I sent this message because there was an article written about us. So I sent it to him. I sent it in our WhatsApp so you could read it. And then he sent me a message and I'm like, you know, hey, man, how's it going with the baby? And did you get any sleep? And he was like, oh, he's so cool. He's so badass. And I don't know what. And yeah, he's so far, he's really good. He's sleeping really good. And I'm like, oh, he's just a day old. Get ready, baby.
Oh, dude, for the first couple weeks, dude, the baby's perfect, right? That's all they do is sleep look, we've had 4. That's all they do is sleep for a couple weeks. And you think, oh, this shit's going to be easy. Everything's good and all that. And God forbid when they get a little bit older, we had our daughter was colicky. Or colic or whatever. Oh my God.
Yeah, I had one that got colicky and it was terrible, man. Like at 6 o'clock every night for like 2 hours.
Oh, it was just like, it was unbelievable. The only way she would be quiet would be if we got in the car, hooked her up in the car seat and drove around. And I would drive around like at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, every single night. And I'm like a zombie the next day for work. But it was the only thing that would keep her quiet. But it was worth every second. She's turned out to be a beautiful young lady.
So anyways, we've kind of kept talking over Chris. Chris, good evening. How you doing?
How you doing, guys? Thank you for having me.
We're super excited to have you. So you got any stories about colicky babies?
Colicky baby? Yeah, I did. I actually had a colicky baby, and I had to lay down, face up, and just pick her up. Just basically pick her up. She would fall asleep, just like dangling up in the air, and she would just be happy as can be. Probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I built up some big muscles, you know. But hey, that was the only way to put her to sleep. So that's what I did.
I've never heard that one before, John.
Look, we
makes
think
sense.
of everything.
No, I was laying
Laying
down in
down,
the bed,
going-
and I'll just pick her up straight up top of my chest, and she would just fall asleep. I think it's just the way the intestines are, like the car seat, the way they're sitting down, and that's comfortable for them. And you just got to do what you got to do, you know?
Now, how many kids do you have, Chris?
Three. One is 9, 11, and 15.
Oh, the 15 age. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. Is the 15-year-old a girl or is it a boy?
A girl.
A girl.
Yeah.
A girl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
has that light switch hit when they kind of go into that teenage year?
No.
Look, let me ask you a serious question here, Chris. How many times have you gotten the ages wrong when somebody's asked you how old your kids were?
It looked like he struggled a little bit, John.
No, I'll be honest. I've done it. Look,
because
they change all the time, right? When you got 4 of them.
they change depending on the birthdays, right?
So 4 of them, when you memorize these 4 numbers and then one changes and it just throws everything for a loop. I can't tell you how many times, look, and this is a confession I'll make, but I can't tell you how many times when I'm doing something important and I'm filling something out and I have to add the names of our children and the ages, before I submit it, I always send mama a text message and say, 9, 11, 13, 16, and 18, right? And then she'd say, thumbs up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But trust me, I do it all the time.
Yeah, well, they're 3 years apart. So, but they change, you know, one of them changes birthday and then they're like 4 years apart or 2 years apart, depending, you know. So yeah, that's why you heard me kind of trying to figure out what their ages.
It made me feel better about myself when you did that because,
Yeah.
It gave him hope.
but you know, sometimes you just roll with it because nobody really knows and you just throw out
Nobody's
numbers
gonna know.
and you're just real confident about it. Yeah, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3. You were good. Who's
Yeah.
gonna know?
Right.
Mine just in public bash on me if I screw that up, John. They're very quick to correct in public. But anyways, so Chris, is your 15-year-old so like mine is 15 now and hits that teenage years and just, you know, she's in the room all the time. She doesn't want to talk. You ask her questions and it's one answer questions. And then she'll come out and she'll be really nice and really this. And then the next morning you talk to her and it's just back again to the one answer, you know, one word answer. So has yours hit that yet?
You know what? Not yet. Not yet. She's an athlete. She kind of works out every day. She likes running.
Okay.
And she gets all her energies out almost every day. And she's in professional, I guess, cheerleading. So they had a competition in Orlando and stuff. So they're away with mom. She runs about 5 to 12 miles a day. So I tell her kind of to slow down because, yeah, she just likes running.
That's awesome. Right now, is it the World Championships of Cheerleading in Orlando?
I think so. It's called Summit.
Summit, yes.
Summit. Yeah, I think they got 3rd or 4th in the nation for their class, for their age group. I think their class. Yeah. You know, I'm proud of them. Proud of her achieving that.
That's awesome. Now, John, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story that even John doesn't know. So when we moved to Prosper, John, we had a friend of Brianna that was in competitive cheer. And John, out here, probably like Chris's daughter, it's like cheerleading, when they're at that level, it's like super competitive. And you look at them and the things that they can do in the jumps and the flips, and it's really crazy. So this girl was staying at a foster home, not for kids, but because she was in cheerleading competition. And there was this team that she's on that's close to us. And she lived, I think, down by El Paso. So her parents allowed her to come and live with a host family, is what it's called. So she was living with that host family, but she wasn't getting along with the host family. And she was getting ready to just kind of basically go back home. So Brianna came to us and said, hey, Dad, Mom, you know, I have this friend and she's in competitive cheer. And her dream is to make it to World Championship in Florida. Can we host her for, I think it was like another 8 months, and then she would go to the competition, and then after that, she would go back home. Being the way that we are, we're like, sure, why not? And so she came and she stayed with us. We had to drive her to practice all the time, and they were practicing like 4 or 5 times a week. It was really crazy, and supposedly she was on this good team. So she stayed with us. They went to the World Championship, and they actually won first place. So she kind of got her dream and came back to us. And I remember she came home and we were all excited, and she came in and we're all hugging and she's crying because, you know, she was able to achieve. She knew since she was like 9 years old that that's what she wanted to do. And so she came out and she was crying and hugging us and thank you. If you guys wouldn't have, you know, hosted me, wouldn't have had to go back home, and I was ready to go back home. So It was really cool. But Chris, I didn't know how competitive that whole cheer thing is until we were involved with her.
Yeah, 3 to 4 times a week, about 4 hours a day. And last week before the competition, before they flew out there, they worked out 7 days a week, 4 hours a day. So just for 2 minutes, for basically choreography, setting up all the just synchronization between everybody. That's quite a bit for a 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half competition. Yeah, that's discipline, man.
It does. Well, it teaches a lot of good habits, right?
Yeah.
And they can apply that towards everything in life.
Yeah.
It's no joke. It really is. I've seen some documentaries and stuff. I'm not very attached with it. My daughter wanted to cheerlead, and I said, nope, no cheerleading for you. I don't want you to break your neck. It's bonkers.
Yeah. It's very dangerous. We just had a girl here from Prosper that was big time into cheer, and she did a flip and she landed wrong and she's paralyzed from the neck down. So she has very small movement. But, where we live, there's big, huge community. And so everybody stayed involved, but it's scary. It's really scary. All right, guys. So look at this. We've been chit-chatting for 15 minutes already. And people are going to listen to this podcast and be like, here's 3 pool guys and they're talking about cheerleading. Like, what is this podcast about?
Chris is freezing his ass off in the freezer.
Yeah,
right
he's starting to look cold.
Chatting about children.
You're cheerleading about sports. We're talking about ESPN sports, right? Is this an ESPN channel? They're gonna be flipping channels and be like podcasts and be like, that's us.
All right, Chris. So for the listeners out there, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the pool industry?
Well, I got in the pool industry right after high school. I was about 19. Yeah, 19. I started a job. It was called Wild Rivers Water Park in Irvine, California, Southern California. So there I had to take care of about 2.5 million gallons of water every day. And the park was huge. And back then we didn't have those electronic testing, Wi-Fi set up, everything. So you had to walk everywhere to test the pools. So you can't test them in the pool. You had to test them in the back where the filtration sat, all the water pressure. So I had to test them, and I was so tired all the time trying to figure out what was going on. So I kind of figured out I was walking too much, man. I was walking about 10, 16 miles a day with a pedometer. After that, I kind of took it easier, tried to figure out a better way there, but there was no better way. You just had to walk. You just had to walk and walk and walk. Every 15 minutes, you have to test the pool. You have to walk all around. So that was my first experience there. After that, I was like, this is too much. So I tried to figure out what to do. But inside the pool industry, I saved up a little money and I looked me up for a route, 28 account route, bought the route, started my own pool service business there. From there, it's like everything went smoothly. I think it was 2004 when I started it. I was burnt out after 4 years. Burnt out. I was ready to get out of it because it was just too much with the customers, with all the green pools, all the brushing you had to do. It was too much. So I kind of wanted to figure out a way to kind of get pools under control. So I started experimenting with chemicals, but never mixed chlorine and acid, people. Never mixed chlorine and acid. I never did, and you should never do it. It's dangerous. Yeah, I just mixed up some minerals. It wasn't chemicals, any oxidizers or anything like that. So I just mixed some minerals around. I tested some formulations, and I went through a lot of stuff that didn't work. So something started working. It was a mineral base. It was copper, silver, and zinc based. It was chelated, so it can stay in the water. It never comes out of solution. I gave it to my service guy friends. They said, hey, this stuff works. Can you sell me some? I was like, no, I'm not selling it. Can you make me some? Okay, if I have some extra available. So I started providing them with that, and they liked it. So from there, everybody was telling me, get it started, get a business started. But I never did. Instead, I started another business, which failed. But from there, this business came up because I already had the shop. When I started the other business, it was actually filed for a patent. It was an attachment, kind of like a hitch cover. But it was for the exhaust system where the exhaust can come out, but you can show some, a display, like your favorite football team, baseball team, something like that. So that failed after a while. We sold, but not enough. We had the whole setup, the warehouse and everything. So I was like, I think it's a good time to start what you guys were saying, to start. So we used that space and we set it up, and then we started doing it. That was about almost 2013. And then we founded the company in 2013. We were doing great for about a year. And then after a year, we got slowed down. There was everybody was coming after us in the industry, I guess, because we're selling a lot, so some other companies were coming after us. The government was coming after us. The state government was coming after us. The federal government was coming after us through the EPA, California EPA, all that stuff, all that good stuff. So we got bombarded from every side. Lawsuits from every side coming in. So from there, it was kind of tough because it started 2014, all that ordeal, I would call it. So from there, we went through a lot of stuff. There was a court battle. There was fighting the EPA. So in that court battle, there was a lot of stuff going on. They sat me down. They did like 8 hours interrogations, like depositions to trying to get me to say something to incriminate myself or something. Yeah, that was
Now, was this the EPA or this was a legal battle?
That was the legal battle,
council.
But the EPA was in their side in a way because they wanted to hear also what was going on. It was 8 hours one time, just asking me, bombarding me with questions, and then it was 8 hours another time. I got pretty funny stories on that. When they ask you stuff, you have to say it. You have to say the truth. You have to say everything. So they asked me for my email, my personal email. I was like, what do you need my personal email for? Because I don't know if they wanted to go and search my personal email for stuff or like, here my email. The funny thing is, after I got home that day, I started getting tons of spam. So I wonder who got my email and just started spamming and got a bunch of inappropriate websites links to my email for months. I got spammed after that, so that shouldn't have happened that way, And then another one was where they asked for our address. Back then we had a warehouse, and that's where we stored our stuff, and they asked for our warehouse. I don't know why they asked the question. Week after that, we started getting tons of cars driving by, taking pictures. I'm like, ooh, what is this? Is the FBI or something like that? It's like, are they, who's sending? But, it was just, I think, private investigators. We had a warehouse where nobody would go through. It was just private, completely private. And then there was cars passing by all the time, There was another funny story where we were going to go to trial, right, that day. They were trying to play chicken with us or something, and we called their bluff. So we said, okay, we're going to trial today. The owner of the other company wasn't prepared, so their attorney, I think, called him that morning. He showed up after an hour with like half asleep and then with a bag full of stuff, ready for the trial. We were there, ready for the trial. Funny thing happened. I knew the judge. We were going to go into trial, and I knew the judge. And I told our attorney, I think I know the judge. And she asked me, so who's the judge? I said, she's my full service customer.
I was just gonna joke and go, you serviced her pool.
Shit. That's awesome.
I serviced her pool. Okay. So the other side got mad and said, oh, no, what's going on? I said, whatever. So our attorney told her, and she saw me and said, oh, hi. And then, we went out. Judge took about 30 minutes to deliberate to see what was going on, and eventually recused herself, so that was fine. And nothing happened that day, but we called her bluff, and it kind of worked out for us, because we didn't have to go to trial. We kind of showed them that, yeah, we're ready to go. They wanted our formula, and that's where I kind of drew the line. We kind of fought because they asked about our formula in many different ways. They're trying to get it out of me, but because that formula I had not written down anywhere, it was in my head. They could not force me to write it down or verbally say the formula because it was in my head. It had never been written down. They first wanted percentages, and then they said, okay, can you give us a percentage? I said, no. Can you give us the names? No. And then it's like, can you give us a range? Of course, I'll give you the range, 1 through 100% this, 1 through 100% that, and 1 through 100% this. And that's how we did it. And what really got me mad, though, during that ordeal was when they were going after us, but not just going after us. They wanted, in depositions, they wanted all the names of our customers, which were pool service people. We were hearing from service guys, telling us that people were telling them, competition, telling them that, Blu-ray is illegal. And it's, if you use it, you're going to get the EPA show up in your door and give you a $5,000 fine per each product. So that's what kind of got me upset, because one thing is going after us. Another is just going after the customers of you because they're buying from them, not from you. So that's what kind of upsetting. So they did a full court press, but they never got to us. Some big distributor houses, their people were talking about, Blu-ray is illegal. They're not going to be in business pretty soon because they were asking for our product. That's all that happened in a span of about 2.5 years. So it's just mentally and financially and emotionally draining,
I was going to say, like, you're telling the story and like you're kind of going through it. And I think John, just because he lived it, he's over on the other side. Man, those years must have been completely stressful because you're part of a deposition and it's very stressful. It's draining. I've been involved in that's probably some of the most stressful times of my life, and it wasn't really something that was even going to affect me. I was just part of it for something else. But when it's against you, that's probably something scary, probably something, terrifying part of your life.
It was worrying something, not because they would stop us or anything. It was just all the money drained, all the emotional drainage happening. So it was so hard. We got to a point where we had to move out of Southern California, Orange County, just so we can pay half the rent, just so we can cut down on our expenses. I was actually running a route and I was driving 95 miles, once a week and staying down there to do my route and then coming back just so we can save that much money on rent. So it got to a point where I just had exhausted all my assets, my finances. I mean, completely everything, no assets under my name and just like $43 in the bank. That was rock bottom.
That's scary.
So, yeah. With 3 kids.
$43 in your bank account and 3 kids.
I know you're going to get into it, but what a beautiful thing. Just listening to that story and then the hardship.
Hey Pool Pro, this is your chance to celebrate the best in the pool industry. Is there a pool pro, trainer, sales rep, or product that's made a real difference in your journey? Someone or something that goes above and beyond? Nominate them now for a Pool Nation Award at poolnationawards.com. Let's recognize the game changers, the innovators, and the everyday heroes who make our industry better. Your nomination could change someone's life. Nominate today. Go to poolnationawards.com. Nominations close August 6th. Hey, you pool pros. This is the year you change your pool business forever. Join us for a fully immersive conference that not only teaches you water chemistry and the hands-on day-to-day of a highly successful pool business, but how to make the most of your business and make money. Pricing, profit, cash flow, leadership. It's happening October 24th and 25th at the PSP Expo in Las Vegas. We've designed a powerful 2-day business track to help you build a smarter, more profitable company. Day 1, financials. Learn how to shift from technician to owner. Day 2, get expert knowledge about people and performance. From hiring and training to time management and accountability, we'll help you lead a team that drives results. Build a business you love.
Hey guys, let's be clear. These aren't just lectures. We're not here to hit you with a bunch of theory and then send you on your way home. We're diving into what your numbers are actually telling you about your business and how to build a team that takes the stress off your plate and makes your business more profitable. Visit poolspotpatio.com or poolnation.com.
That's poolnation.com. We'll see you in Las Vegas.
Today, we're talking to Josh Sherwood from Sherwood's Outdoors. We talk about his journey into the pool industry and his backyard and pool giveaway. Yes, you heard me right. He is giving away an entire backyard, including the pool, to one deserving winner. John, good morning.
Good morning. So a couple things. I don't know if you're noticing my phone I got a little notification and I get the dreaded wind warning on my phone right now. So I don't know if you noticed, but I started twitching a little bit and my mood changed about 3 minutes ago before we went live. When I'm like, how's everything going? I'm like, yeah, everything's good. Let's get it. I got a bunch of shit we got to do today. And then all of a sudden I get that wind warning and well, anyway.
You start to question life really quick.
Yeah, right. Huh? And it's just, holy shit, man. It's like one week after the other, after the other, after the other. And we're talking like 60, 65 mile an hour winds, so they're pretty brutal. We just got done cleaning them all up, and here we go again. But anyway, looking forward to the podcast. I had the pleasure to speak to Josh on Wednesday's Instagram, and extremely impressed with the story and loved it.
Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Okay. Now, I didn't even ask you this, right? But we're good. Do you want me to talk some of the same stuff I talked about during the live? Touch on a different audience.
It's a little weird when Edgar does it this way, but yeah, Yeah, it feels like, oh my God, didn't we just have this conversation?
Here's what happens, guys, is not everybody that watches the Instagram Lives listen to the podcast. So what we like to do is we like to get that story and reshare it on the different platforms so that people can kind of listen to the story. So I know some of the questions are going to feel like I'm repeating them, but for those that don't listen to our Instagram Live, we want to give them the full story.
Okay. I would say got married pretty young. I started my job when I got married, if you call it a job, was I did rodeo, which is like team roping. So we had horses, cows, we'd practice twice a day. And then every weekend we were gone on the road to a rodeo or to a roping. I love that. I did that my whole life up to about 21, 22 years of age. Got married, my wife started going with me, and it wasn't exactly a fun thing for her. And also, it's not very lucrative. I'm not going to lie. There are guys out there that can earn a good living doing that. But what I realized really quickly was I wasn't one of those guys that was going to be able to do that. So I just quit cold turkey, just stopped doing it completely, got rid of all my cattle, my horses, my trailers, everything. And at the time, my dad owned a sod farm out it used to be out in the middle of nowhere. Now with all the growth, it's not that far away. And so he has a sod farm, and he would subcontract the install part of that business out to other people. And so I was like, hey, installing sod, it's pretty easy to do. It's difficult labor-wise, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist to install sod. But it's tough work, especially in the summer. It's tough work. So I started to do that. I went to my wife and I said, honey, I think I'm going to start installing sod. And we had no money at the time, like you do when you're first married, you're broke. So I went to Home Depot. I got everything I would need to install sod, and we didn't have enough money, so we had to put it on a credit card. And so I bought one wheelbarrow, a couple rakes. There's a roller that you use after you install sod. You have to roll the sod out. And I think it totaled to like $190. My wife looks at me and just like, I sure as hell hope you know what you're doing. We thought it was so much money back then. And so we put it on a credit card. And so I started laying sod, and that went fine. The economy was starting to get good. This was about 2002, 2003. And so as it got busier, I went from me and like 3 guys, and I bought another truck and then got another crew going. So then it went from me and a few guys to then another guy and some guys. So then I had 2 crews rolling at that time. We started getting some exposure just being in people's yards, right? Neighbors would say, what's going on? And they would look and say, hey, I need some sod, or hey, can you also help me with some sprinklers, or can you plant a couple bushes or a tree and run some drip line? And basically I just said yes every time, even though most of the time I didn't know how to do it or what to do. The funny story, and I know I shared this already, but it's a good one, so I'm going to share it again. Anytime you start a landscape project on a new house, there's a valve called your anti-siphon valve or backflow valve, same valve that's used on the autofill of a pool. So you have to solder that valve onto the house. And I had no clue how to solder, and no one that worked for me at the time didn't know how. So I was at Home Depot buying some materials one day, and I saw a sign that said, hey, free class on soldering. And I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And it was like Saturday morning. I went down on a Saturday, and it was like 8 a.m., no big deal. And there was like 3 other people, me and like 3 other people. And there's this dude from Home Depot, a retired plumber, with his little apron on, Home Depot apron. And he had a little corner set up at Home Depot, and he was showing us how to do it. Then after he gave us test runs, I was like, I think I got this. And so he allowed all of us to do a test trial. And I think my second time I got it, and at least I felt like I got it. I was like, really? That's pretty easy. Like, I don't see what the big deal is to this. And I had a job already sold. And so I went out to this job on Monday, and I had the valve, and I'm like, I'm going to solder this valve on. Well, as you know, on a new home that has that main water line, it's really difficult to get all the moisture, all the water out of the line. And, the Home Depot guy said, the best thing to use is bread. So I'm stuffing bread in this pipe, trying to get it to dry out. And I'm pretty sure the whole time I forgot to turn the meter off at the street. So water just kept coming, and I'm stuffing bread. Finally, I realized, the meter's still on. So I turned the water meter off, so it completely shut the water line down. And I got this valve soldered on. And I was like, I felt pretty good about it. I'm not going to lie. I felt pretty good about it. So I turned the meter back on, and I was waiting for it, just watching it, waiting for it to blow off, because I turned the meter on slowly at a time. I didn't want to hit it with all that pressure. So I turned it on. It held. And I was like, oh man, this is so easy. I mean, I felt like a genius. I was like, this is
I got
a 2-hour class and I'm an expert. So I went home that night. I get a phone call from the homeowner, like in the middle of the night. Literally that thing had blown off around 11 at night. No one knew about it. So it ran like 3 or 4 or 5 hours straight, full pressure, a meter, like a 2-inch meter. And it was in a tract home neighborhood where the houses were really close together. And it literally flooded. 2 houses on both sides of this house, including the house we were working on. And it was a nightmare. And that was like my first sold job.
I'm never doing this again.
And I went home. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. Instead of quitting landscaping totally, I made a few phone calls and I hired someone right then that knew how to solder. Right then, hired him on the spot, said, you're hired. And that was my first funny story. And the lesson in that is I learned very quickly what I was good at, and I learned very quickly what I wasn't good at. And so the rest of these last 20 years, if I didn't know what I was doing, I usually could hire someone that did, or research it, or subcontract it, or whatever I needed to do to make sure it was done right. Because I didn't want to have that experience again. And obviously I'm a pretty good talker with people. So I made them feel good when I sold the job that I knew what I was doing. And I obviously didn't, but took that one on the chin there. And but we kept going, kept moving forward.
That one would have knocked out a whole bunch of people, John. They would have been just like, I'm out of the business completely.
Well, it would scare the shit out of them. And not only that, but see, usually the problem is when something like that happens to somebody, especially when they're new into something, it sets them back for the rest of their career because they always worry about it, right? Or they're always second guess themselves, and they always put themselves in the situation where like, oh my God, I'm going to take the easy, safe route. And it's a different breed of being to be able to take that hit on the chin and say, this isn't going to stop me. I'm going to learn from it. And this is what I'm going to do in the future to help prevent it. So
today we're talking to Todd Pierre, COO at AquaStar Pool Products. And returning to our podcast, today is Jamie Novak, Director of Branding and Communications at AquaStar Pool Products. Today we're talking about the famous pipeline filters. I have a bone to pick right off the top of this podcast. Like, I'm just going to drop it. I'm going to go to our Insta chat. So big shout out to Steve Barnes, Janie, Howard. Typical thing, John. Hi, John. And then I get somebody over here that says, hi, John. And then they say, hi, Zach. Where's Edgar? I mean, come on, guys. Like, what are we doing? I think they're poking fun at me, John. They know now that that's my...
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's on purpose. They found your weak spot and they're poking at it.
He's going to be thinking about that all day long.
He acts like he's joking around, but he's developed a complex over it. He even called me up one time when it first happened. He's all, do you really think they don't like me, John?
Aw, who couldn't like Edgar?
And I'm like, no, man, they love you. They just want to say hi to us. And with you, they just feel intimidated because they kind of get like starstruck.
Yeah.
And they don't want to engage with the mighty Edgar and his fabulous hosting abilities. And they don't want you to call him out on the live show. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah. Here's the trick with that, guys, is why John has brown eyes, right? Because you're full of shit, buddy. You're just full of shit. So
right there with you, buddy.
Anyways, John, how you doing?
Doing great. And to be honest, I feel a little left out. I really wish I was there with you guys.
You got FOMO?
To me, it motivates me, right? And I'm like, I just can't wait for the next one. And I can't wait for all of us to be there. I mean, we did the podcast when I flew out to Texas earlier this month, and it was you and I, and Zach was remote. And then now it's you and Zach, and I'm remote. But next time, I promise, especially if Todd and Jamie decide to come back out, that I'll fly out there just for the podcast so we can sit down and we can do it all live out there in the studio. We could chop it up and eat some good food, because I'm sure Edgar's a great host.
I was just going to say, I think you want to come out for the food more than hanging out with us.
I do.
From what I've learned over the past few days.
I eat, and I love to eat. I believe variety is the spice of life. Yeah. And I love trying different things and trying different places. And if you think Edgar took you out and fed you well, just wait till you're in company with me.
That's a challenge.
Yes.
There was some good barbecue last night.
Oof.
Oh, where'd you guys go? To Tenders?
Tenders. Yeah. But we also have to shout out our friends at Summer Moon.
Oh,
coffee.
Isn't that good stuff?
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I wish I was there, but I'm glad I'm still here. I'm looking forward to this podcast. Jamie, Todd, I know you guys personally. We've talked multiple times. I think you two are great people. And what we're about to talk about on this podcast, especially, and we kind of hinted it a little bit before we went live, is some of the new innovating products that you guys are bringing out. And all bullshit aside, to me, it's a breath of fresh air to see a bigger manufacturer or a known name out there innovating and changing the way we look at things before in the past, because I feel that as an industry, we've become somewhat complacent and just satisfied with okay or good enough. And I can see from the products that you guys are going to deliver and putting out, you're pushing that envelope. I know it's not easy, especially for a company and for a manufacturer to take chances or to do stuff like that, but it's the most rewarding if you knock one out of the park. And I think especially with these pipeline filters, you guys did just that. So I'm looking forward to having the conversation with you guys. And yeah, that's about it.
I'm actually intro. Thank you.
Yes. You like that,
I
right?
like that, yes.
I mean it. I'm not
I know
a
you don't
bullshitter.
BS, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it. And it's true because I live it every single day. I'm out in the field and I'm busting my ass just like everybody else that's on this podcast listening. You guys know the grind. And to know that there's products or things coming down the pipeline.
Pun intended.
No pun intended or pun intended, right?
It's impressive. He's good.
He's good. Huh? He's good. Yeah.
Right? Are being created to make our jobs easier or to make it just a little bit easier for us is exciting. So,
and I think the pipeline filter is going to be a little bit disruptive, if I may use that word.
I agree 100%. And I think you need to do that.
For the better.
For the better. A good.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
It's a buzzword, Todd. Come on. Disruptive.
So Todd, good morning. John,
Good morning.
how you doing?
Very good. How are you?
We're glad to have you.
Thank
We're
you.
super excited to have you. Jamie,
Hi.
how are you? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, how did you enjoy this time versus the last time?
This is a lot of fun. Lots of good food. I'm not sure my pants are going to fit when I get home, but really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're super excited to have you guys here. We've had a great time. We'll talk about that during the podcast. Let's jump in, guys. So, Jamie, let's start with you. I know that you were on our podcast before. A lot of people know you, but we have so many listeners, new listeners. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the pool industry?
Sure. My name's Jamie Novak, Director of Branding and Communications for AquaStar, and I started in the pool industry now 17 years ago. I started out working for another equipment manufacturer and was there for a couple of years and then transitioned to the chemical side of the business where I was for the past about 12 and a half years before joining the AquaStar team last year. So always working in a variety of roles of sales and marketing. So I think the cool thing about being on the marketing side of the business now is that I understand the field perspective. I've been in retail stores, I've been in service companies, I've been out to pool builds. And so kind of bringing that field perspective to the marketing team of how you position things and your messaging and all that fun stuff it's a good kind of niche way to go about it. And it's not typical for a lot of marketers to have done sales before they get into the marketing side. So I love that part about my experience, and just meeting new people every single day is so much fun, like you guys. But yeah, that's kind of my quick background. I know I did a very extensive marathon episode with you guys. I think we might still hold the record for longest episode of all time when the girls and I were on. But yeah, I'm actually based in Bel Air, Maryland. Not a lot of people know that. AquaStar is out of the Ventura, California area. So I kind of call myself bi-coastal, but I really am based on the East Coast. So that's a little bit about me. I have a son who's 14 named Christopher. I'm sure I'm embarrassing him just by saying that. Yeah, my dog Maisie, she's not here, obviously. The last one, she popped her nose in the door a couple of times. So good to be here.
Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself and the journey that you've had in this industry.
Yeah. My name's Todd Pierre, COO of AquaStar Pool Products. I grew up small town, northern Indiana, 22 years, and then migrated my way to the West Coast, where I, by accident, walked into a distribution location in Southern California, looking for some hourly work while I would look for a quote unquote real job. And the company at the time just started a program for college graduates. And I was asked if I would be interested. And this was 2003. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Because I had nothing, right? I had nothing but the clothes in my car and moving to the West Coast. And 2 weeks later, I was hired on with that company, and I was with them for 7 years. And it was Pool Corp. Ended up managing a location for a few years, and then AquaStar came around and we started buying product from them, and I got to know Wade Newloff really well, and I approached them and said, hey, what do you think about a West Coast sales manager? And Newloff said after 2 interviews, absolutely. So that was middle of 2010. So I've been with the company now since then. So a lot of different roles. Started as a West Coast sales manager, morphed into the national sales manager, vice president of sales, and now the COO of the company. Been an amazing run. I had no idea I would end up in the pool industry, but now I can't get out. I love it.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
Once you get in, you never get out.
Well, you know how many stories by accident is like the opening line.
I'm 100% by accident. Like
Really?
Oh my God. There was not even, I was more corporate retail sales and just a completely different world.
Corporate retail sales. That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's just a completely different world. And I finally just said, F it. And I'm going to do something for myself. I don't want to work 7 days a week, 80 hours a day. 80 hours a week, 7 days a week. And I'm just like, whatever. And I was literally just driving and I said, what can I do? And I started opening up my eyes. I don't want to get off subject here, and I never noticed it before because we never had a pool before, but I started seeing a bunch of trucks with pool poles or pool companies. And it's kind of like when you just buy a car and you've never had before and you never used to see it, but now that you own it, you see it everywhere. Kind of like the same thing. And then on my way home, we saw like 17 pool trucks and it was like maybe a 10-mile drive. And I was like, wow, well, obviously there's something there. Let me look into it. If they can do it, I can do it better. And then it just started from there. And then I did my little research, but it's funny how it works. And I would have never thought in a million years I'd be in the pool industry, yet here I am. And I don't ever see me getting out of it because I absolutely love it.
I love it.
Call me crazy.
Today, we're talking to Mike Farley, and we're talking about the $1 Million Pool Design Challenge. Mike, good evening. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great. It was a hot one today, but we survived.
Yeah, were you out in the field a lot today?
I had to measure a couple of job sites and be on a couple of construction sites. So luckily, it wasn't in the afternoon, but it was up until 1. So it was a hot day.
It was to that border heat, right? Because today out in Texas was at least a bear for us, right?
Yes, sir. It certainly was.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy out there. So I had to go out to let the dogs out for a little bit. And I walked outside and I said, wait a second, what am I doing? I'm not staying out here. A little too hot. Mike, let's get this party started. So Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And, you've been in the industry for a while, but I want the listeners to know who Mike is. I obviously know you. I watch your stuff. I follow your pages, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
It started a long time ago. Back in Lubbock, Texas, I decided to get a degree in landscape architecture when I was getting out of high school. When I graduated with my degree in landscape architecture, I wanted to do residential design. That was not the preferred thing in my industry, but that's what I love to do. And shortly thereafter, I moved to Northern California long ago. I went into dinosaurs roam the earth, got my degree, and there was a recession immediately. And so I went out to California and started doing landscape work. And one of our clients was a pool builder. And so with that, I was the landscape guy that worked behind all the pools. And I got really tired of him putting the pool right in the center of the yard and then taking all the money. So there wasn't anything left. And then another recession hit in 1992. And I was like, I'm moving up the food chain. So I just moved on up to be the pool designer as well as the landscape designer. And then I got to control where I put the pool in the yard and control the budgets a little bit more. And it was very successful. I worked basically from Napa to Sacramento for about 12 years there in Northern California. And then we decided to move back to Texas. Moving back to Texas, we picked a little bitty town at the edge of the Metroplex called McKinney to be our home. Little did any of us know back in 1998 how much Frisco in McKinney, Texas was going to all blow up. They all thought I was an idiot when I left California because they were like, man, you've got this thing going and it's great. And you work from Napa to Sacramento. And why in the world did you leave it? And then 3 years later, they were like, man, you were brilliant. How did you pick Collin County to go to of all places? And I was like, blind dog luck. Sometimes a hog finds an acorn, even if it is blind. So I couldn't have probably asked for a better place to land to be in the pool industry and to do what I do. So I've been back here for over 20 years, working just in Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I have lots of requests because a long time ago, we started a YouTube channel to try to help people out and give some information. And so we have people that call all the time now that are like, oh, we are here in Florida and we're ready for you to build our pool. We've been watching you for 8 years now. And we've seen all your videos. And I'm like, man, there's 300 of them. That's a lot to watch. But it's a resource for people. We don't go to Florida because of all my connections in the industry with people over the years, I refer them to other folks out there that we just stay here in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Now, for our listeners, because you seem to be kind of very humble and that kind of stuff, but your builds are pretty freaking awesome. I mean, I post your stuff all the time exactly because of that. Going back to that lazy river that you built and, just this latest one. I don't know if you noticed, I posted and everybody went crazy, especially because it was hot, especially over by the kitchen area and you got all the seats in front and everybody was going nuts.
Sunken bar stools are a popular thing right now. Yeah, my daughter said when she was growing up that she would tell people her dad worked in the pool business and they all thought I built swimming pools. And she said, no, he designs the crazy one. That's been the most accurate thing that I can describe. And the fact that I am blessed to work with some people that put pools in that sometimes cost 3 and 4 times the amount of my house. It is a wonderful opportunity, and I get to do lots of different things. And the fun of my job is they're never the same. I mean, I work with different yards, different houses, and different clients. And so that's the fun of being a designer is I get to be creative in that process. So it's a lot of fun.
And for everybody listening, when I tell you that Mike's stuff is completely out there, so we all know that Texas is flat, right? For the most part, Texas is flat. But yet here comes Mike doing these builds, Mike, with these like hillside kind of slope things with, I'm assuming you got to have retaining walls and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, where's Mike finding all this land to build these crazy pools?
Again, that YouTube channel, the 2 things I got known for on there was hillside designs and lazy rivers. Okay. And when people start looking for hillside work, they find my stuff. And yes, I have had the luck, or it wasn't so lucky on the first one that I did out near Napa. I mean, that was a disaster. But you live and learn if you want to grow. That's what the industry, I've tried for years to get better at what I do. It's never the same thing. And so I look at different resources to learn from, and anytime you try something that's a challenge, you're going to fall on your face. That's why they laughed the first time I taught at the International Pool Show, and they were like, oh, well, this guy doesn't mind getting up and telling about his mistakes and, trying to help other people get better. And I'm not about to paint myself as the perfect designer. I've made mistakes. I tried to understand construction and design. It's a process, and now and then it's like, well, never thought of that before or never experienced that before. But yes, I'm well versed in piers and retaining walls. And I tell most of my clients, you picked a great yard for a stream, but you want a pool. So we got to create a flat spot out here to stick it on. A lot of times it's like, wow, we're going to have a hard time finding a flat spot. So we have to create them. So that's where I was this morning. Every single job I was on was some crazy elevation, but that's my reputation now. So when people got that stuff, they're like, okay, he can handle it. I'm the guy for it. So that's cool for sunken cabanas and swim up bars because you have all these different elevations. So that's why I've done a lot of those. Last year, I was like, golly, every other project's got a swim up bar on it. Those do go kind of crazy on Instagram. People like those pictures.
They do. So I love the sunken fire pits, the sunken kitchens. Those are my favorites. I love to post all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you this, it was funny because you posted some pictures of the swim up bars. And so you had like 10 pictures and you had probably like 9 pictures that were more gorgeous than just the shot of the swim up bar. It was like a close up swim up bar. And I'm like, man, Mike posted this for a reason this way. So I'm just going to reshare it exactly how he reshared it, right? Next thing you know, the last one that I posted had like 65,000 views, the one with the swim up bar. I mean, it went completely crazy. And then as we were kind of getting ready for the podcast, I kind of was like looking through. And then the previous swim up bar one that you posted, it was the same thing. The reach was like absolutely insane. It's true. I mean, they're definitely hot right now. And I think especially with the pandemic and everybody wanting to, not just the hole in the backyard anymore. Right now, everybody wants the backyard retreat.
We want the resort. We want everything that comes with the resort. And now and then I used to be like, you want what in your backyard? Are you kidding me? They do those on commercial pools. We're installing slides that are bigger than some water parks. And it's like, really? I mean, I had a lady the other day, she says, well, I need 2. And I'm like, 2? What do you need 2? And she's like, I got 4 boys. They're very competitive. They'll want to race each other. So I need 2 52-foot long slides. Okay, yes, ma'am, we can accommodate you. And I tell people this all the time. There was pre-9/11, and the pool industry totally changed after 9/11. And there's going to be post-COVID, and the pool industry will never be the same as it was before COVID, because the demand that people have for a space in their backyard that is their own piece of a resort will never change, because people get a feel for it and they're like, I go on vacation 2 weeks out of the year. I get to live in my house the other 50. So let's enjoy it all 52 weeks, in our backyard, or 50 weeks here. And then we can go to somewhere even crazier and come back with new ideas to put in the backyard.
Say goodbye to slideshows and lectures and hello to hands-on learning at this year's Pool Nation Conference. Real tools,
real techniques, real experience.
Join us October 24th and 25th at the PSP Expo in Las Vegas, baby. For 2 days of interactive sessions for real-world application. From equipment demos to workflow walkthroughs, we'll go beyond the basics so you can see it, touch it, do it. Master best practices with live demonstrations and practice using the tools and tech that power today's pool industry. Whether you're new to the trade or leveling up your skills, this is your chance to learn by doing, not just listening. Become an expert in business too, from technician to owner. This is the year you create a business you love in the pool industry.
Hey guys, these aren't lectures. They're real tools that you can take home and start using right away. From what your metrics are really telling you about your business to building a team that makes your life easier and your business more profitable. Register now for the Pool Nation Conference at the PSP Expo in Las Vegas. Visit poolspapatio.com or poolnation.com.
Head to poolnation.com to register now. We'll see you in Las Vegas, Pool Pro.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com.
U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool.
Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
AquaStar's new Pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for Pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Today, we're talking to Paul Sim with Pivot Pool Products and Ariel, the solar skimming robot. Zach, good morning.
Well, good morning, Pool Nation. We can see you're still catching up from vacation there because you had it down perfect before you left. So it's probably going to take some time to get back in the groove with that intro there.
It absolutely is. You know, I was just joking around because I came back from vacation and my mind was ready to go back, Paul, but my body was going, oh, we're not ready for this.
You know, I'm not sure he rehearsed that before he came in today. You thought, you know, a couple of weeks off, you know. An athlete that hasn't played for a few weeks, you usually, you know, go out and take a skate, take a few swings of the bat, whatever it is.
Can I give him a little behind the scenes?
A little behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, when you went to the bathroom was when he started rehearsing.
Thanks, Spider. I appreciate that, man. See, Spider's got my back, so. Anyways, Paul, good morning. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting us to be here. And congratulations to you and the team, Zach and John, for what you're putting together here with Pool Nation. I think it's a great contribution to the pool industry, and I'm sure you guys are going to be tremendously successful with it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've loved hanging out with you yesterday. For everybody listening, we went out to Studio A. We did our photo shoot. We did our videos. And Zach, I have to tell you, I was completely impressed because Paul just got right in front of the camera and like this light switch went off and it was like Emmy Award nomination thing here where he was just like on point. To the point that we always, Zach, have like 2 hours for the videos and stuff like that. 40 minutes into it, he had shot all the videos. We're switching from camera A to camera B. And at that point, I'm coming to him, Zach, going, dude, you got to give me more content. Come on, because you got this down. I kind of thought this would take twice as long. But he just nailed it, Zach. It was awesome. I had a great time, Paul.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, when you've been telling a story for a while, you actually learn it. And plus, it's a cool story to tell. So it's always fun to get out there and tell the story of Ariel and what we're doing.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. You definitely have that down. I love that you just truly love what you're doing, your product. You believe in it. It's great. I'm super excited to talk about it today.
All right, Paul, we have a lot of good stuff to get into today. And to start out, I'd like our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So could you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the pool industry?
Well, thanks. Yeah. You know, I was kind of a late entry into the pool industry, at least in terms of where I was at in my career back in about 2007. I had sold an interest in a business that I had. And of course, what unemployed business executives do when they have an opportunity like that is you become a consultant, right? So that's what I did. I did that for a couple of years. And in the process of doing that, I ran into a couple of fellows by the name of Dennis Ruja and Terry Maskey. They had been issued a patent for a product that skimmed swimming pools autonomously using solar power. And they had even gotten to the point where they had this prototype that they had developed and built. Other entrepreneurs or anybody with a great idea were struggling to figure out how to get it to market, to find the capital they needed, and that sort of thing. And so my wife and I put one of these in our pool, and we said, wow, this is pretty amazing. Our pool all of a sudden was way cleaner than it's ever been before. And we said, well, this seems like a pretty good idea. And so we made an investment in the business. We set up a new company, Solar Pool Technologies at the time, with Dennis as a partner in the business. And we kind of took it from there. And I hadn't had any real background in the pool industry. My background before that was farm and construction equipment and fire trucks and emergency vehicles. And so, but I had some entrepreneurial experience. And so we just kind of continued from there. And we finally got a product that we introduced into the marketplace 3 years later, after quite a bit more money and quite a bit more time and effort than any of us expected. And so we introduced the Solar Breeze in the fall of 2011, and it kind of took the business from there through all kinds of challenges and upheavals. So that's how I got, that's a little background on me and how I got involved in the pool industry.
I do have to tell you, Zach, one of the things that I love is really kind of getting to meet all these people in the pool industry, because you hear all their backgrounds and it's amazing. And I've enjoyed, Paul, talking to you and your background and with the emergency. And one of the things that I love, Zach, is you talk to all these different business people and they all have these different strengths and these different things to run their businesses and to kind of be successful and to keep pushing forward. So I really enjoy that part because I learn and I try to imitate some of the things that I learn from everybody that I meet. I want you to tell us a little bit about the history of Aerial and kind of where you started with it, kind of a little bit the ups and downs and kind of where you guys are at today.
Yeah, well, it's quite a journey and almost none of it matches up with the business plan that we originally wrote, as you can probably expect. So, you know, as I mentioned, we got the first version of the Solar Breeze introduced into the market about 2011. And I think that first year we sold about 1,000 units, which for us was, we thought that was pretty awesome. About 40% of them broke down. so we had that to deal with. Unfortunately, our early customers were also our beta testers. But we've always kind of taken the philosophy of if you make a mistake, you go out and accept it and look after it and try to make things right for the customer. And sometimes even if you make mistakes, customers will be patient with you. And we're fortunate that a lot of ours were. So we had another iteration and another iteration. And by about 2014, we kind of dialed it into the point where the unit was operating, you know, reasonably well. But we were struggling for cash. And the thing I hadn't really understood when we got involved in the business was just how much capital it was going to take to really build and grow this business. We were kind of teetering on the brink of extinction event about that point in time. So we said, well, let's give this one more kick at the can. And so we launched a Kickstarter campaign with the new version of the product we had developed at the time, which was the Solar Breeze NX. And we launched the Kickstarter in July of 2015. And our target was to raise about a little over $300,000 because that was going to give us enough capital to go to our supply chain and manufacture some products so that we could stay in business in 2016. And so we launched that Kickstarter campaign in late July 2015, I think it was. And by 2 weeks later, we had hit our target. And it was really gratifying because a lot of people had stepped up to order, and essentially you were pre-ordering the next version of Aerial that would be delivered in the spring of 2016. And a lot of the people that stepped up and pre-ordered were existing customers of ours, right? And who wanted to see us survive, wanted to see the product survive. But we also got a lot of new customers in the process. And by the time the campaign was done, we'd raised a little over $400,000. And I think at the time, I'm sure things have changed now, at the time it was one of the top 1,000 projects on Kickstarter. So we took that capital, we went back to our suppliers. And at that time, we were managing all of our own supply chain. So we got the parts built. We got them delivered to our final assembler in China. We were building the product in China at the time, or having it built in China. And got it built and got it delivered. And, of course, we'd promised we'd deliver product in March, which turned into April, which turned into finally in May of 2016. We got product delivered to customers, and we had a new life. And we've been able to kind of grow and build the business since then. But we still had a struggle on an ongoing basis of how do we close the gap between when we need to be investing in our supply chain and when we get paid by our customers. And that's one of the big struggles in this business because it's so seasonal. So it was in the fall of 2016 that we connected up with a company called Pivot International. And Pivot is a international company that with manufacturing plants all over the world and engineering capabilities all over the world as well. And they took on our contract manufacturing for us and also helped us with some engineering work and also provided us with some capital. They funded the inventory initially, so that helped us out as well. And so we grew with Pivot support through 2017, 18. And then in 2020 is when we sort of decided that really to take this company to the next level, we really needed to restructure the business again. And so that's when we established Pivot Solar Breeze, now Pivot Pool Products, and Pivot bought a controlling interest in the company. Myself and some of the other original shareholders still have a small minority interest. Then they really poured their energy and resources into the company and have helped to grow it. And we introduced a new product, and we've just done a lot of restructuring to the business that gives us an opportunity to really grow. So the relationship with Pivot has been critical to helping us survive and kind of take the business to the next level. And I want to publicly thank Mark Donalick, who's the CEO of Pivot, and the whole team there for getting behind us and being as committed to what we're trying to do as we are.
That's great. Hey, before we continue, Zach, I do want to give a shout out to everybody that's jumped online here. I know that we're kind of coming back from vacation, so I sent the email, but Daniel Bowden out there, big shout out to you. Of course, Zach, he started with hi, John, hi, Zach, hi, Edgar. Edgar's third down on the list. So he's been doing that to me for like the last 7 podcasts. So Daniel, I got you, brother. I got you. I'm going to watch you up at the Pool Nation Awards, and I think I'm going to get even. I think I'm going to surprise him and make him come up on stage or something. Zach, what do you think?
Oh, yeah.
For sure, right?
Good.
For sure. So Daniel, I know that you're having fun with me, but I got yours coming, buddy. So Kelly, big, huge shout out to you for jumping on there. Maria, Jeanette, Kevin.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or PoolNationPodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry, a pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.